Hey there, fellow creators, Ben here from Snipit Studios. And you know, artists hear a lot of things, especially from non-artists. And not all of them are things we like hearing. So here are 5 things that artists are secretly really sick of hearing. Stick around. So most artists, when talking to a fan or a potential customer, tend to err on the side of caution. Things they're just smile and nod and go, okay, yeah, all right. But there's a lot of those things that kind of drive us nuts. And here are a few of them. So the first one is kind of a big one, especially for a lot of artists. And it's simply the word talent. A lot of artists will hear, oh, you're so talented. This drives a lot of artists absolutely insane. Granted, on my part, I'm not really one of them, but it is still annoying after a while. For a lot of artists, the word talented implies to them that art is sort of some weird natural gift that you don't have to work at. And that annoys them because they go, no, it's not a talent, it's a skill, you work at it. But even things you're naturally good at, you'll work at. And I will say to a lot of times it's like, yeah, talent, skill, it doesn't bother me as much because I know what people mean. And at the same time, you got to ask yourself a little bit of a question. It's like, yeah, you are, in some ways, as an artist, a little bit naturally talented because you have an eye to do it. You have an eye to create. I've always kind of said, I mean, I can train my voice to sing well, but I'm never going to sing like Pavarotti. That said, I think part of the annoyance is a lot of times that when you follow up, you're so talented, it ends up being, I could never do that. And that's actually a really sort of a negative thing for that person to be saying about themselves. Because like, well, I could never draw like you. It's like, well, did you try? Did you put in the work? And I think that's what annoys people the most. Not only one, that they're implying that they're not working hard, they're just naturally good at it, but 2, it's self-damaging to that person to say, you're good, I can't be that way. And I think that's kind of sad. And I think for the second factor of that, I think that's also why a lot of artists kind of get annoyed about that. The second thing that artists are secretly sick of hearing, and are something that we really want to tell you about, is that a lot of times we don't really care about your niece, nephew, grandson, son, daughter, relative, anyone who you're bringing up who is also an artist. Most families, I've found, that have some sort of artist in the family, or drawer, painter, creative person, they exist. Creators are everywhere. In a lot of ways, I'd say creators are everyone. So in conversation with somebody, like, oh yeah, well, you're an artist. Well, I know an artist. Like, yes, we all know artists. It's not that special. For someone bringing it up, unless you're going out of your way to plug your relative's art, try and get them a job, a fan, anything like that, you have their information ready to go on hand, or you're like, again, like trying to push the clientele, it doesn't really help to be like, hey, I know someone who's an artist. It doesn't help you relate to the person in your conversation with. So it's like, I'm an artist. Cool. I have a son who's an artist. Great. I'll talk to your son because we'll have more in common. I suppose I probably should make a video now about how to talk to artists. So another thing that artists are sick of hearing, or maybe not hearing in this case, is people who don't follow up with commissions. I've had this happen to me a lot, of people being like, hey, I want to commission you for a project. I'm like, cool. And then I never hear from them again. This is just kind of rude, actually. Not strictly artistically speaking, just it's rude. So to go out of your way to be like, I want to commission something from you, and then never hearing from them, it's like, well, don't get our hopes up for a job if you're just gonna run. Now, I understand that some people, like, they need to, build up the money and that's fine. But it's like, if you're interested, touch base with the artist, being like, hey, I'm still interested, don't have the money yet, but I want to get something from you, fine. But sparking our interest, be like, hey, you might have a job coming your way, and then just ghosting them, not necessarily the thing to do. And it does really kind of annoy us a lot. Similar along those lines is something that has continually annoyed me, and I think probably will for the rest of my life. And that's price haggling. I'm going to say it out really bluntly here. You're buying art. You are not at a flea market. A lot of people don't seem to really understand that Art is like walking into a movie theater or buying a CD. You're not haggling for the price of that. Just because it's a lot of money doesn't mean you can do that, and it's actually really, really insulting to the artist to even try. This is the way I kind of think about it. Let's say you have a plumber come into your house who estimate the job for you and say, hey, this is how much it's going to cost. And you kind of look at the plumber, look at the bill, and go, yeah, but I only have like $50. Can I just pay you with the $50? Because I don't think you did that good of a job. And I don't think, because, you know, anyone can be a plumber, so I have $50. Here's $50. Like, no. Pay me for the job that I did. I'm a skilled laborer. This is what I do. As an artist, this is the same way. If you're an artist, you're a skilled laborer. You just happen to be making something that's a little bit more creative. And the last thing that I would say artists are sick of hearing, especially this artist, is, did you go to school for that? Not every artist you run into went to school for art. In fact, a lot of us haven't. A large amount of us haven't. Art school is a privilege. It's an expensive privilege in that sense, too. No, not all of us went to school for it. Stop asking. Please stop asking if we went to school for it. For two reasons, I'd say. One, does that make or break my skill set for you? Does it make you think, oh, well, he went to school for it, it makes sense, he's really good? Or two, he didn't go to school for it. Either A, he's really good for not having to go to school for it, which seems weird in a lot of ways. And two, oh, he didn't go to school for it. That makes sense, he's not that good. You're building it in your own head that whether or not you go to school for something can either be like, well, you didn't go to school for it, so you're not good, or you did go to school for it, you are good, or both in reverse. Like, it creates a whole level of prejudice in your own mind when it's just like, look at the art. Is the art good? Then that's all that should matter. So, yeah, I'm being a little ranty here, but, you know, there's a lot of things that artists hear that they're just sick of hearing. We hear it all the time. Like, you go out, somebody finds out you're an artist, you're probably going to hear one of these things. Also, there's the aforementioned, and I left it out for a good reason, of you drawing in public and somebody leaning over your shoulder, seeing you drawing and being like, did you draw that? And it's like, no, I'm just scribbling on a page and it's magically apparent. Yes, I drew that. There's a lot of things that artists are really sick of hearing. And these have just kind of been my 5. Well, 6 now, I suppose. And yeah, that's my thought, but I know there's more. I know there's more. So if you're an artist, let me know in comments below what are some of the things that you're sick of hearing. And if you are sick of hearing them, let's go into conversation about it. I really want to hear what you guys have to say and why you're sick of hearing it and why artists are sick of hearing it, but also what other people can do to change themselves from asking the questions over and over and over and over again. It's really important to not just being like, well, quit asking me this, but also to explain why. So if you learned something or just simply enjoyed me ranting for a while, go ahead and hit that like button, get subscribed if not already, and this has been Cinderblock Studios reminding you to keep on creating, and I'll see you guys next time. About someone who's interested in commissions, but they never follow up. So artists are really sick of hearing from you if you haven't heard... Wait a minute. Fumbling that one a little bit.